The sun dipped low behind the rusting roof of Malik's auto service, casting golden light across the empty lot. Inside the garage, Malik sat at his worn wooden desk, a pencil in one hand, a stack of unpaid invoices in the other. Please like and subscribe to my channel for contents like this. His face was drawn, his eyes tired. The shop he had poured his life into was slowly slipping away. Once, this place was full of laughter, ringing phones, and customers chatting about car troubles. Now, silence echoed louder than engines ever had. He rubbed his temples and stared at the final warning notice from the electricity company. "I've done everything I can," he muttered under his breath. Bills covered the desk like fallen leaves, and Malik's heart ached with the weight of everyone. He had started this shop with nothing but a box of tools and a dream. But lately, dreams didn't seem to count for much. "Maybe it's time to close up," he whispered, leaning back and looking at the oil-streaked ceiling. Just then, a faint knock echoed from the front door. He blinked, unsure if he had imagined it. The sound came again, soft but real. Pushing himself up slowly, Malik hesitated. Part of him didn't want to deal with anyone tonight, but something nudged him forward. When Malik opened the door, a man stood there, thin and ragged. His coat was too big for his frail frame, and his shoes were nearly falling apart. The man looked to be in his early 40s, with weathered brown skin and tired eyes. "Good evening," he said, voice shaking. "I'm looking for work. Anything. Please." Malik's hand still rested on the doorframe. He looked the stranger up and down, unsure what to say. The man didn't flinch under the gaze. There was something steady in his expression. Hope, maybe, or desperation. Malik's first instinct was to close the door gently and return to the chaos inside. His shop was hanging by a thread. He couldn't afford extra help, especially not someone who walked in off the street. "I'm sorry," he started to say, but then he paused. There was something about the man's eyes, something familiar. It reminded Malik of the early days when he'd begged for his first job, with nothing but a wrench in his hand and a promise to work hard. "What's your name?" Malik asked instead. "Jordan," the man replied quietly. "Jordan Cole." There was a long silence between them. Malik sighed and looked down at the cracked concrete floor. "I can't pay much," he said slowly, "but I could use someone to sweep up and keep the place clean." Jordan's eyes widened slightly, and he nodded quickly. "That's fine. Anything. Thank you." Malik stepped aside and motioned him in. "Grab a broom from the back room," he said. As Jordan walked past him into the garage, Malik shook his head, almost in disbelief. He didn't know why he had said yes, but deep down, it felt like the right thing to do. The next morning, Malik arrived early, expecting to open the garage alone like he always did. But to his surprise, Jordan was already there, sweeping the front steps. "You didn't have to come this early," Malik said, trying to hide his surprise. Jordan looked up with a small smile. "Old habit," he replied. "Early start, full day." Malik nodded and walked inside. He wasn't sure what to make of the man yet, but one thing was clear. Jordan was serious about the chance he'd been given. As the day went on, Malik focused on finishing the one job he had, a brake replacement on an old sedan. Jordan kept sweeping, wiping down counters, and quietly organizing tools. He didn't talk much, but there was a quiet focus to everything he did. Around noon, Malik brought out 2 sandwiches and handed one to Jordan. "Lunch break," he said, sitting on a tire stack. Jordan took the sandwich with both hands, like it was something special. "Thanks," he said softly. "It's been a while since someone offered me lunch." They ate in silence for a few minutes before Malik finally asked, "So, what did you do before this?" Jordan hesitated, chewing slowly. "I used to be a mechanic," he said finally. "A good one, too. But life got complicated." Malik looked at him. "Complicated how?" Jordan shrugged. "Lost my shop, then my home, then my family." He didn't go into detail and Malik didn't push. Instead, he nodded slowly. "That's tough." Jordan nodded back. "Yeah, but I'm still here." Later that afternoon, Malik stepped outside to make a call. When he returned, he stopped short at the garage entrance. Jordan was crouched next to an old station wagon, tools spread out beside him. Malik frowned. "What are you doing?" Jordan stood up, wiping his hands. The customer mentioned a rattle in the engine when she dropped it off. "I thought I'd take a look. Found a loose belt and a cracked hose." Malik raised his eyebrows. "And you fixed it?" Jordan nodded. "I didn't touch anything serious, just what needed doing." Malik walked over and started the engine. It purred. He glanced at Jordan, eyes narrowing. "You sure you were just sweeping floors before?" Jordan gave a sheepish smile. Old habits die hard. Malik looked back at the car, then at the man standing beside him. "You've got skills," he said. "Real ones." Jordan lowered his gaze. "Used to. Been a while." Malik crossed his arms and nodded slowly. "Well," he said, "looks like I hired more than a janitor." Jordan didn't reply, but the smile on his face said more than words ever could. The next few days brought something Malik hadn't felt in a long time: hope. Jordan showed up early every morning and didn't leave until the sun was down. He worked quietly, efficiently, and never once complained. Malik began giving him small repair tasks, oil changes, tire replacements, diagnostics. And each time, Jordan handled them like a pro. Malik found himself watching him, almost amazed. "You're not rusty at all," he said one afternoon. Jordan looked up from under a hood. Muscle memory. Some things don't fade. On Thursday, a customer walked in with a beat-up minivan that was coughing like it had a cold. The man, probably in his 50s, looked worried. "Think it's done for?" he asked, arms crossed. Malik glanced at Jordan. "Take a look." Jordan nodded, already grabbing his tools. The customer raised an eyebrow. "He knew." Malik smiled. "He's better than new." Jordan opened the hood, examined the engine for a few minutes, then said, "It's the plugs and a clogged filter. I can fix it today." The customer blinked. "Seriously?" Jordan just nodded. By closing time, the van sounded healthier than it had in years. The customer was speechless. "You did this?" he asked Jordan directly. "Yes, sir," Jordan replied simply. The man turned to Malik and pulled out a thick envelope. "You've earned a customer for life." As he left, Malik turned to Jordan. "I don't know how to thank you." Jordan just wiped his hands and said, "I'm just happy to be useful again." Malik didn't say anything, but his heart was full. This shop was alive again, and he knew exactly why. Word started spreading. By the end of the week, more people came in, some curious, others desperate. Malik hadn't seen the waiting area this full in years. One afternoon, he stood by the window and watched Jordan carefully rewiring an old coupe's ignition system. The way he moved, precise and confident, reminded Malik of a time when he himself used to be the one under the hood. He walked over and clapped a hand on Jordan's back. "You've brought life back to this place," he said. Jordan smiled without looking up. "Feels good to be part of something again." That night, Malik stayed behind after closing. He walked the floor slowly, taking in the smell of engine oil, the neatly arranged tools, the hum of equipment still cooling off. He hadn't felt this kind of peace in a long time. When he reached his desk, he found a note from Jordan scribbled on a scrap of cardboard. "Thanks for believing in me." Malik stood there a long moment, holding the note. He sat down and looked at the shop one more time. "Maybe we're both getting our second chance," he whispered. The next morning, Malik arrived to find Jordan already under the hood of a pickup truck, deep in concentration. "Morning," Malik called out. Jordan slid out from beneath the engine and wiped his hands. "Morning, boss." Malik chuckled. "Don't call me that. Just Malik is fine." Jordan nodded, grinning. "Okay, Malik." The two of them had fallen into an easy rhythm, like old friends who had worked together for years. Malik had stopped seeing Jordan as a man who walked in off the street. He was family now, part of the heart of the shop. Around mid-morning, a young woman came in, her eyes puffy from crying. My car broke down near the highway, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I just started a new job. I can't afford a tow truck, but I walked here hoping maybe. Before she could finish, Jordan stepped forward. Where is it? She looked at him, confused. A few blocks down. He grabbed a portable toolbox and tossed Malik the keys to the service truck. Come on, he said. Malik blinked, then followed. Jordan's calm urgency surprised him. It wasn't just about fixing cars for Jordan. He genuinely cared. They found the woman's car stuck by the roadside, smoke curling from the hood. Jordan knelt down, opened it, and frowned. Radiator hose burst, he said. But I've got spare parts in the truck. Malik watched him work like a surgeon. Hand steady, voice reassuring the young woman. Within 20 minutes, the car started with a healthy growl. Tears filled her eyes. How much do I owe you? She asked. Jordan looked at Malik, who just smiled. Pay us with a good day at work, Malik said. She nodded, overwhelmed. You saved my job. Thank you both. On the ride back, Malik couldn't help but glance at Jordan, who was quietly cleaning grease from his fingers. You didn't even blink, he said. Most people would have asked questions first. Jordan shrugged. When you've needed help and didn't get it, you learn not to waste time. Malik nodded slowly. That's why we make a good team, he said. We both know what it feels like to start from the bottom. Jordan didn't say anything, but a quiet look passed between them, one of mutual understanding. No words needed. Back at the shop, business kept picking up. People liked what they heard about Malik's auto service. Fair prices, fast work, and friendly faces. Jordan's reputation grew quickly. Some customers came asking specifically for the tall guy with the quiet smile. Malik noticed it and didn't mind. In fact, he felt proud. One evening, as the last customer pulled away, Malik locked the doors and turned to Jordan. Ever think about putting your name on that sign out front? Jordan looked up, startled. You serious? Malik nodded. You're not just helping me anymore. You're building this too. Jordan didn't answer right away. He stared at the shop sign, the fading paint on the letters that read Malik's Auto Service. He looked back at Malik, his voice soft. I don't know if I'm ready for something like that. Malik folded his arms. You were ready the first day you picked up a wrench and fixed that engine. You've brought this place back to life. Jordan glanced at the garage, the humming tools, the shelves restocked with parts. It was no longer a dying shop. It was a place of hope. Maybe, Jordan said slowly, maybe we rename it together. A few weeks later, a new sign was unveiled over the entrance. It read MNJ Auto Repair. Customers gathered and clapped as Malik and Jordan stood side by side, both smiling. You built this with me, Malik told the crowd. This man saved my business, and he didn't ask for anything in return. Jordan looked down, embarrassed but grateful. All I needed was a chance, he said quietly. Malik gave me that. The people around them cheered, not just because of the new name, but because of what it stood for. Second chances, kindness, community. The shop never slowed down after that. People from all over came not just for repairs, but for the story. They wanted to meet the man who had been homeless and was now a business co-owner. They wanted to shake hands with Malik, the man who took a risk when he had nothing left to give. Reporters came. Schools invited them to speak. Even the mayor visited and called it a shining example of hope. Malik didn't care for the attention. He was just happy to see the shop full and Jordan smiling. One quiet evening, after the last car was locked up and the lights were dimmed, Malik sat outside on a crate, watching the sunset. Jordan joined him, 2 sodas in hand. We've come a long way, Malik said, accepting a drink. Sure have, Jordan replied, taking a sip. Funny how one knock on a door can change everything. Malik smiled, remembering that rainy night. Funny how one yes can save 2 lives. They sat in silence for a while, letting the peace settle in like the soft evening breeze. As the sky turned purple and the stars peeked through, Malik turned to Jordan with a quiet smile. You're more than a worker, you know. You're family now. Jordan's eyes glistened, but he nodded. So are you. In that moment, surrounded by the hum of crickets and the smell of motor oil still clinging to their shirts, both men understood the truth. Sometimes life gives you a second chance not through money or luck, but through someone else's belief in you. And that belief can change everything. Like and subscribe for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section.